welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia if you're new around here, and this is my vegan baking cooking channel. Today I wanted to make or try out some different vegan aiolis. I do have my favorite commercially made one, but I wanted to try a couple of my own and then put them all together and compare them. So that's pretty much all for today. So let's get into that video. Alright, so I'm going to start by showing you the ingredients we're going to be using. So the first aioli is a cashew based aioli. This one takes a little bit of prep work. You have to soak the cashews overnight just to get them soft enough so that when we blend them it's nice and creamy. So I have half this recipe, and the recipe is going to be in the link in the description box below if you wish to follow along or you want to make this aioli too. So the original recipe is 2/3 of a cup of cashews, raw cashews. I'm only using 1/3 and I've halved everything else as well. But with that said, let's start. So my soaked cashews overnight, I'm going to drain them. Oops, there we are, all of them in there. I'm going to chuck them into I'm using a bullet blender for this one. You then also need 1 whole clove of garlic, but I'm just going to be using just over half one because my garlic cloves are on the smaller side today. The one thing I dislike about working with garlic is my hands tend to stink for days and I can never get the smell off. Like, if anyone has any suggestions, seriously help me out here, because when I'm baking or cooking dinner and stuff for my family, I can't get the smell off. I just crushed it, because if you crush a garlic, it's easier to take the skin off. Now that I've got my garlic clove in there, I also need 1/8 of a cup plus 1 tablespoon of water and half a tablespoon of lemon juice. With the water, I'm going to add 1/8 of a cup here. Whoops, just 1/8 of a cup of water, and it's about a tablespoon for good measure. Now I'm going to be using a lemon from our garden, from the tree. This is actually the last one of the season, unfortunately. Lemons are quite expensive. Anyway, just squeeze this over here. Whoopsies. Trying not to get it everywhere. Voila. Now for the blending part, I'm gonna just put the lid on nice and tight and blend. We shall check on this one here. Ooh, that looks pretty good. I would probably normally taste test this, but I want to save my reaction for the end, so we're going to scoop this out, chuck it in the fridge, and then we'll get started on the second one. Alrighty, so we are back. I'm really excited for this one because I'm making kurma chips to try them with, and I absolutely love kurma chips. But in order to do that, we've got to make the second aioli. So this next one that I'm making is a Chelsea Winter 10-second aioli. This one does not use any cashew nuts or anything like that. It is purely oil. It says to use soy milk, but I'm going to try it with oat, purely because that's the only one I have at the moment and it's difficult to get things. But with that, it's a fairly similar recipe. One very important part about this one, apparently, is that once you fill this blender with the ingredients and you flip it over, you have to let it sit for 30 seconds before you blend them so that there's separate layers so that it emulsifies or something like that. So I'm really scared this one's not going to work, but we're going to give it our best shot and see what happens. Alrighty, so we're going to start with the oil. It is 1 cup of Oil, it uses grapeseed oil. I do not have grapeseed oil, so canola oil it is. 1 cup of oil. That looks like a lot. Half a cup of milk. I'm using oat. A teaspoon of Dijon mustard and 1 clove of garlic, as well as salt and pepper. 1 teaspoon Dijon mustard. Oopsies. Again with the garlic clove, you just push down on the back of the knife on the garlic clove. I also cut off the end there, and then you can just peel away the rest of the garlic like that. Much, much easier. I'm going to pop that. Oh, I'm going to pop that in there too. And then I'm going to put in my salt. I'm going to add some more salt and pepper later when we taste them. But as far as that goes, we will put the lid on now. Oh, I can smell those kumara chips. Oh. Okay. Flip this over and put it on so I don't have to move it again. And we'll just let that sit for 30 seconds or so. You can kind of see the layers, but we want to see the layers more clearly. Check on these bad boys. Almost, yes.
Okay, so what happened here was my dad came up for his morning or his lunch because we're in lockdown and happens all the time. But I wasn't gonna talk while he was in there with me, so over here I just blended it together for that 10-13 seconds kind of a mark. It turned out really, really watery, but I was like, oh, maybe if I add the apple cider vinegar and the lemon, it'll come a little bit thicker. I was wrong. Anyway, here I'm adding the 2 teaspoons of apple cider and the 1 of lemon. I then give it a little mix, as you'll see in a little bit, and yeah, it doesn't do much, unfortunately. My face right here, I look so like upset by it. I was really hoping this one would work, but honestly it probably comes down to my undoing. I did put the cap back on and put it back in the blender, so that's what you're seeing here. Didn't make a difference whatsoever. It's so runny you can pour it. It's literally liquid, and I put it in the fridge hoping that that may or may not do something. The rest of it goes in a jar, and yeah.
Okay, so the aiolis have come out of the fridge. I actually froze the one that turned out a little bit runny because I was hoping to film a lot sooner than I was able to, but I left it in there too long, so it's now crystallized. So that one's gonna be fun to eat. However, it hasn't really gone a little bit harder like I was hoping, so that one's gonna be really runny. Anyway, let's try it and see what they like. First up, we have the cashew one, so the oil-free aioli. Okay, I don't like that one. The texture itself's not too bad, but the garlic doesn't go very good. I wouldn't make that one again. Now as for the next one, as you can see, it's literally frozen. Oops, let's just mix this and hope that the me accidentally freezing it part doesn't affect it too much. See, this one is so watery. I don't know what I did wrong. Like, I followed the ingredients perfect. It may be because of the oat milk. I might try it again some other time with soy milk and see what happens, but definitely calling that one a flop. However, it tastes bloody good. Okay. I wish this one had this consistency. But then it would be perfect. It would be the perfect vegan aioli. Or, so it's just not creamy, it's liquid. It's a sauce. Ooh, aioli sauce. I don't think that would be very good, actually. Flavor-wise, 10 out of 10. Texture-wise, 0. Texture-wise, like an 8, 9 out of 10. It's still a little bit chunky because it's cashews, but it's very creamy. Taste-wise, big fat 0. However, I wonder if you put the mustard powder, or not mustard powder, sorry, mustard, and a little bit of, what was I thinking? A little bit of oil, because I don't have any reason for it to oil-free. However, if you're used to things being oil-free, that might be perfect for you. And just as a good old base aioli, see, this is what the consistency of aioli. Mine is liquid, if you want to see here. Oh, I can't do it because it's frozen, but it's literally drips. This will stay on my chip, right? Other half, not double dipping. This does not really stay on my chip, unfortunately. However. Sorry. The flavor of this, I could say, is equal to or better than the commercial aioli. Not sponsored, by the way, but Cully's aioli is vegan aioli. This stuff to die for. Anyway, that's all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. This is definitely a flop. Definitely learned that aioli's not as easy as I thought it was going to be to make. But we live and we learn. Definitely will be trying this again. But my lesson for today is it didn't work. Please consider subscribing, liking, commenting. Anything helps. And I'll see you guys in the next video.